This is an updated non-public demonstration of ChildScene, a system designed to process still and video images of child abuse on seized hard drives, other media, online and on websites by comparing the images, even if heavily cropped or modified, against a central database of known images of abuse. This enables new images to be separated from known ones to a much greater degree than previously available, substantially reducing both the time to process a seizure and the potentially traumatic effect on investigators. ChildScene then uses our AI-based face recognition technology to help identify the children. It builds on our team's earlier experience in developing the child-based system for the UK National Crime Squad. This was launched at the House of Lords in London and was the largest system of its kind in the world at the time. Traditionally, hashing techniques have been used to find identical images by matching pixel patterns. However, this doesn't work if an image has been cropped or deliberately modified. ChildScene's algorithms solve this problem. All the images you'll see in this demo are innocuous and also generic. They're not associated with the subject matter in any way. We're looking here at the main screen where searches are handled. The tabs across the top offer the ability to search existing databases of images of abuse, offenders, offenders' tattoos, victims and objects, and where possible detect links between them. In each case, the images in the database can be viewed or a search can be initiated of them. We can see examples of the scenes we'll be searching by clicking the Scene Database tab at the top left. And the control at the bottom allows us to scan through them one by one. So I'm going to go back to the Scene tab here and drop in an image of a room. So this is notionally from a seizure, and we drop it into the area on the right. ChildScene immediately encodes it by finding distinguishing characteristics and using its algorithms to convert these into a numeric encode array unique to each image. When we compare images, we actually compare encode arrays. The arrays themselves can't be reversed back to images. So when I click on the Recog button on the right, the encode array of the image will be compared with all the encode arrays in the database of previously seen images, and thumbnails of the top matches will be displayed in the area on the left. So any image can be quickly checked to determine if it's been seen before. At the top left is the probe image we want to search the database for, followed in this example by the top match and then two medium cropped matches. The fifth match is of the heavily cropped table lamp. These cropped images are a major challenge because the cropped area could be any size, anywhere in any image in the database. Despite that, it still finds them correctly. So that's an example of a full image finding heavily cropped parts of itself. Let's reverse this by matching a heavily cropped image against full or less cropped versions of it. So here's a substantially cropped image. I'm just going to drop it in. It's of the same room. In fact, if you look at the matches from the previous search, you'll see it's really that top corner there. And when I click the Recog button, 3 of the top 4 matches are of the correct room. So full images can find cropped ones, and cropped images can find full ones. In the next example, the seized shot is taken from one side of a room, while the database shot is from the other. Let me just drop that in. For good measure, the database image is a JPEG and the probe is a PNG, so they're also very different compression formats. Let me just click Recog once again, and you'll see that both database images are identified, and even although they're from different angles, they contain sufficient common characteristics to match well. The next example is an image of a hotel room which has been cropped by about 90%. So we're seeing just 10% of the original, and once again, if I click Recognize, the match is this image here, and you can see the area that we're matching against right in the center left at that point. It's worth noting that the smaller the crop, the less detail that Child Scene has to work with, and therefore there's a greater chance of it being further down the match list. Child Scene can also be used to match fabric colours and patterns. Earlier I mentioned face, tattoo and object recognition. Here's an example showing tattoos. While an offender's face may not appear in any of the images, tattoos on his arms or elsewhere may be visible. Now if I switch to the tattoo module up on the top tag there, drop in a cropped image of a scorpion and let it encode, and then click once again the Recognize button, Child Scene will match it against all the known offender tattoos and find and display the full image with details of the owner. Similarly, the Victim module can be used to match victims' faces against databases of missing or abused children. So recognizing something in one module can lead through the other modules to potentially identify offenders through their tattoos and victims, and linking different cases of abuse to the same offender. Child Scene can link instances of the same location being used to abuse different children, very likely by the same person. If some of the pixels in an image have been modified to avoid hash-based searches, Child Scene will find them regardless. While this video has focused on individual seizures, in conjunction with law enforcement, Child Scene can also be used within external organizations to detect full and heavily modified images of abuse passing through their servers, without the content of the images being seen within the organization. So that's a brief introduction to Child Scene. It's a highly effective means of distinguishing known from new images, even if heavily modified, helping recognize child abusers, helping identify and rescue children, collapsing the time required to process a seizure, and substantially reducing the trauma experienced by investigators who have to view the images. We'd welcome the opportunity to show you what it can do. Copies of Child Scene can be provided to law enforcement agencies for evaluation and testing with full online support.